Hi folks, this is Dr. Rob Cywes, the Carb Addiction Doc. Today we're going to talk about control. All too often when I meet new patients who come in all excited, they want to do keto or they have obesity or diabetes, and I explain, I've got to control myself. I've got to control this. I've got to control my diet. I always laugh when I hear that quietly to myself. Because the one thing you don't have, if you're obese, if you have type 2 diabetes, if you have metabolic syndrome, the one thing you do not have and never, ever, ever will be able to recapture is control in your relationship with carbohydrates. It'll never happen. By definition, you are a carbohydrate addict by the time you are obese, type 2 diabetic, or have metabolic syndrome. So to now control a relationship that you have lost control of is lunacy. And that's one of the reasons I hate the word diet. Diets are all about control. You either control your caloric intake by some magical formula, or it's an elimination diet where you control what you don't eat. But they're highly deprivational. Asking an alcoholic to control their drinking by only drinking 2 beers a day, or asking a smoker to control their smoking by only smoking 2, it's so ridiculously obvious when you put it into those contexts. Asking a heroin addict only to use a little bit of heroin on Tuesdays, please. That is absolutely screwed up. And yet every diet out there asks us to do the same. By the time you're fat, by the time you have type 2 diabetes, you have lost control. Please, please, please don't try to gain control. The only way you can help yourself is to protect you from yourself. Your brain, your psyche, your distortion of reality is always looking for opportunities to give you permission to do something you know you shouldn't. The addiction is managed through the word permission. Because once you distort reality to the point that you give yourself permission to do something you know you shouldn't, it doesn't matter how much of it you do. You've lost control, you don't have control. So the way we protect ourselves from ourselves is by having a clean environment. You know how often I see people that come into my office and say, I've got some ice cream in the fridge, but I'm not a sweet tooth. I like pasta. I'll never eat the ice cream. It's been there for 3 months. Or, I hate dark chocolate. I'll never eat it. It's okay to be there. Or I have to have it there for my friends. Or I love to bake. I love to bake for all my friends. It's Christmas time. I've got to bake, but I won't touch it. Or, it's keto dessert. It doesn't have any. You are just bullshitting yourself. You do not have control. And while you may be able to be okay the one time or the second time, this is a lifelong way of eating. This is a lifestyle change. And you cannot break habits if you're still doing them. And as long as you got access, you will access. I tell people, on several occasions, I've eaten unsweet baker's chocolate that happened to be in the cupboard because it had the word chocolate on it. It's the alcoholic drinking the mouthwash. Because when we are emotionally desperate, we have no control. Please understand that you don't have control and look for ways of removal, of distance, to prevent you from tripping over your own feet because you have no control. And I understand that in certain circumstances it's difficult, but the more you put boundaries in your life, the more you protect you from yourself because you specifically don't have control. And as long as you strive for control, you will strive for failure. Understand that, please, folks. Control has no role in addiction management. If you enjoyed this podcast, if it made you think, even if you disagree with me, just hit the subscribe button at the end of this podcast, because the subscription is free, but it helps us to increase our subscriptions. And if you really value this content and want to contribute fiscally to our ability to provide this content for you, go to our Patreon account and become a member. If I made you think, I've done my job. Thank you.